What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome to Jets Today. It's a Monday edition of the show, and I got a topic for us. And, this is going to be a shorter stream. I'm going to be talking about this one topic, and maybe we'll do a mock draft. I mean, anything's up for debate here. We can do whatever you guys want, but I'm happy that you're tuned into the show. And thank you guys so much for, tuning in for yesterday's mock draft that released on the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a pretty spicy topic. I had the Jets taking Kyle Hamilton at number 4 overall. And so lots of debate and lots of discussion with that one. And, that's kind of why I wanted to pop on tonight. I wanted to make sure I cleared the air and talked a little bit about, what I actually want the Jets to do. As a fan, what do I want them to do? That mock draft was mostly speculative in what I think the Jets might do, what they could do. So I hope you all are, excited and ready for Wednesday as well. We got Jets Central coming on to the show on Wednesday. So check out the live stream. Link is in the description. Check that out. Braden, what's up, man? He says Monday. It's Tuesday over here. It's Monday. Maybe where you're from. Where are you from, Braden? If it's Tuesday for you, where are you? I would love to know. Thank you, Jack. Really appreciate that. He says, or if we pick a wide receiver, it has to be Garrett Wilson. So listen, this is the main topic for the night. This is the main dish, if you will. What are the Jets going to do since they really have neglected this position the entire offseason? And I have made numerous videos on the channel talking about how the Jets should be very, very aggressive. They should go all in, getting a wide receiver, getting weapons for Zach Wilson to make sure he is successful. Wow, New Zealand. That's incredible, dude. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm glad it's a Tuesday for you, buddy. What's up, Vern? Yeah, so I feel like the wide receiver position, they've really just chosen to kind of wait. And you have to imagine they're going to take a wide receiver in the NFL draft. But I'm starting to wonder, why so much confidence, Joe Douglas? Why are you so willing to wait until the NFL draft? What do you feel like you have in your possession, or maybe in your hand of, cards? What are you seeing that we're not seeing is kind of the whole point of this conversation tonight. Do the Jets go to the NFL draft using number 10 or another pick, maybe a second round pick, and going and getting a wide receiver that they feel like can get the job done? We saw them do it in the 2021 draft. We saw them do it in the 2020 draft. They drafted Denzel Mims in the second round. They drafted Elijah Moore in the second round in the 2021 draft. So are they going to do more of the same? Are they going to go get another second round pick, at the top of the second round and pick 35 or 38? I think it's wide open right now, and that's kind of why I wanted to have this discussion. All right, let's get to some comments here. This is from Michael N. And Michael says, Hamilton at 4 is making more sense as time goes on. 2 weeks ago, I would have said you're nuts, but now it's not so crazy. I do think that it's one of those deals, like you kind of said. It was one of those things where I've been kind of scoffing it off all off season. And I still prefer that we don't take Kyle Hamilton, and I'm going to make sure that's perfectly clear here. I still think that there are other positions that we should address and other players that we should be looking to. But I do think that if Kayvon Thibodeau's not there, if Aiden Hutchinson's not there, which I kind of expect, and then if Ekwonu is gone, which I don't really think we should be taking him at number 4, who's to say Joe Douglas won't go after Kyle Hamilton? And there's a couple of factors with that one. Marcus Williams was a guy that they were in on him, I think. There was a lot of speculation that Jets were one of the teams contending to land his services. So, and the other thing to mention is Jamal Adams. Everybody likes to point out, well, Joe Douglas traded him. Yeah, he had to trade him. The noise that he was causing, there was no way they were going to keep him on the team. I think Joe Douglas really liked Jamal Adams and wanted him to be a New York Jet. So I do think that Kyle Hamilton is in play. I think that's something that we all need to open our minds up to. Vern with some knowledge here. He's dropping this down. Christian Watson, the wide receiver from North Dakota State, he's saying that he caught 12 of 40 passes that were contested catches. That's an interesting little nugget, and maybe it shows that when the coverage is tight, maybe he's not as great at the catch point. That could be. I don't know, though. I would like to compare that to other players, though. What are the catch rates in contested catches for, say, a Garrett Wilson? Does Garrett Wilson come down with those contested catches? It would be really interesting to know that. Manny, he says, am I the only one that's having Wi-Fi problems? Hello, by the way. What's up, Manny? Following me on the Twitter. I appreciate that, my man. Let's see. I want some wide receiver conversation. Ronald ATN, he says, it's all about the Jets, baby. Let's go, Jets. Thank you very, very much, Ronald. Thank you for that. The Buffalo Jet fan is here. I'm moving Drake London. Whoops. Let me fix that. He says, pass on a wide receiver in round 1. Let me quote a Canadian poet named Drake. Don't do it. Please don't do it. Listen, I want them to go ahead and take their edge at number 4. I think that's the smart play. I think you're getting a position of need. Even if Thibodeau's not there, even if Hutchinson's not there, go take Jermaine Johnson, go take George Karlaftis, go take Trayvon Walker. There's a lot of flavors in this draft for pass rushers, and I am down for any of them. I really am. And I think edge at 4 is good. We need to build up that defensive line. We need to get stronger at the point of attack. And if you do that, if you go get your if you go get your edge at 4, I think a wide receiver at number 10 is looking really, really attractive right now. You can go get one of these guys, a Garrett Wilson that fits this scheme perfectly. A lot of people are comparing him to Stephon Diggs in Buffalo. He's got the speed. He can run routes like a dream. And then you got Drake London, who is, in my estimation, he is kind of the opposite of Garrett Wilson. He is more of that bigger, contested catch, go up and get it kind of guy. And I do think that either one of these guys would be dynamic and a huge, huge help to Zach Wilson in year 2. Let's get to some more more chat. Mr. Rusty Spooner, he says, JD sees and knows there's no receivers worth getting higher than the 4th round this year, and the free agent wide receivers were highly overpriced. I will agree with that second part. I don't know about that first part, Rusty Spooner. There's plenty of wide receivers that would be more than worth taking before that 4th round spot. Let's get to more comments. Got Kev Chatta. What's going on, Kev? He says, how about starting a countdown till the draft? What are we at? We are 7 and 28. What is that? 35 days? No, not 7. Hold on. Let me do my math. 10 plus. So at 38 days? I cannot wait. And I got some news for y'all. And, I'm very excited about this. We got Jet Central coming on this coming Wednesday. I've been working the phone lines, baby. I got Jake Asman coming the following Wednesday. I got Matt O'Leary coming on the following Wednesday after Jake Asman. There are a lot of dudes in the Jets community coming on the show on the Wednesday show. So really, really excited about that, guys. And they are so gracious, these guys who, this is something that they've been doing for a long, long time, inviting me, I'm inviting them to join me, and they're so cool about it. Just really, really down to earth people. We are very, very lucky. We have each other, these Jets fans. All right, let's keep moving here. Michael N. He says, Burks, Pickens seem to be the best in my opinion as far as contested catches. Yes, and I would say Pickens, he's a little bit of a mean streak, right? A little bit of a nasty streak. He's pretty physical in the run blocking game. He gets after it, and I know Burks is very versatile. Imagine if we could get Burks in round 2. Doesn't sound so bad. I know a lot of people were thinking maybe first round. Whoops, sorry about that. I know a lot of people were thinking about first round for Burks, but maybe we could snag him in the second round. That would be a pretty sweet little get if you ask me. Sean McAteer, what's up? He says, how far does Jameson Williams and David Ajabo fall now? I still think Jameson Williams is a first-round lock. Because, like, in my mind, if the Jets had a pick in the 20 to 32 range, are you really telling me you wouldn't take Jameson Williams in that range? Like, I'm snagging him in that mid to late first round if he's there. And I've heard some people speculate he could even be the first wide receiver taken. Like, there's crazy takes out there with Jameson Williams right now that he could be one of the first wide receivers gone, even with his injury. David Ajabo is a more interesting conversation. What do you think about David? And I would say right now, with the injury just happening, his Achilles tearing, probably a second or third round pick, right? I don't think he's going to go in the first round, but I remember Willis McGahee, and this was a long time ago, but Willis McGahee blew up his knee bad, and he got picked in the first round by the Bills. So you never know, man. It's so interesting, and it's going to be so exciting. The draft is always one of the best times of the year for football fans. Zach Ilks, he says, do you believe the smoke about Kayvon's personality? I'm not buying it. I think that he is maybe a little bit flamboyant, but I'm not one of those people that sees that really as a negative. There's a lot of flamboyant guys in the NFL, guys that are swag, that have a ton of swag. You know, I think he's one of those guys. I just think that he's got, a lot of swagger, and I don't think he really cares about what people think of him either, which is really, maybe important for him in New York. He's got to have a strong mind to be able to play in this market. And so to answer your question, I think that Kayvon's personality is a lot of smoke, and I think that he's super talented, and the Jets would be so lucky to be able to land him as an edge in this scheme to line up alongside Quinnen Williams and Carl Lawson. I think that would be just a dream fit. Gangrene, he says, Pickens been balling from his freshman year. There's a lot of dudes in this draft, man. I like the wide receivers. There's some interesting dudes. Let's see. I'm looking through these chats here. Gangrene's telling me we can steal Pickens in the second round. I've heard that a lot of people are very, very high on him. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched a ton of tape of Pickens. I've seen him play for sure. But there are people that speculate, he could be maybe one of the surprises, get picked a little earlier than people think. All right. Jared Helmuth, thanks for popping in. He says, I think they're expecting Davis to come back healthy and run the 12 personnel a lot. This is a great comment, and it's a great fit for the topic tonight. So I'm really glad, Jared, that you came in here and you threw this in the chat. I already know where you're going with it. I haven't even read the rest of the question or the comment. You said, run 12 personnel a lot where they only have Davis and Moore on the field, and they're probably comfortable drafting a wide receiver in the top 38. This is a great, great comment, and I think that's exactly what the Jets are thinking. They go and they get CJ Uzomah. They go and they get Tyler Conklin, one of my favorite free agents, coming out. I thought that once that David Njoku was no longer available, I thought that, Tyler Conklin made way too much sense for the Jets to go and get him. He's only 27 years old, and they're good blockers. These are not one-dimensional tight ends. They're not just, blockers. They're not just receivers. These guys can do both things, and you're right. We are going to run 12 personnel, and what he means by that is he means two tight ends on the football field at the same time, and I think a lot of content creators, Jets content creators would agree, the Jets were trying to do that last year. They wanted to be in 12 personnel more than they ended up doing it. They tried doing it, and it wasn't jiving. It wasn't working. Griffin wasn't working out, and Croft wasn't working out. They got injured at certain points during the year. So I'm hoping, man. Real 84. He says, hey, I'm born and still live in Buffalo, but I bleed green. Thanks. Curtis, number 28. Curtis Martin, my favorite Martin, one of the greatest running backs in NFL history. No stammering, no stuttering there. He is a legend and a warrior. All right, more comments. What are you guys' thoughts on doing a mock draft? We can try to maybe take a wide receiver at 10 and kind of see how that feels. Maybe you could convince me we'll take a wide receiver at 35. I'm all for it. Oh, I'm getting a call here. Is this from a listener here? I don't think I'm taking calls right now. I would love to take calls. Leave a comment, Carlos. Let's see here. Dom C. He says, as much as I love Garrett Wilson, Drake London's skill set is something that our offense doesn't have. I agree. I think that that's one of the things that I mentioned in the mock draft about Christian Watson. He's a little different than what we already have. We don't really have anybody like Christian Watson or Drake London. I do get the intrigue, though, with getting Garrett Wilson, though, because he's just yet another wide receiver who could run routes and would really fit in well with what we're trying to do on offense. Franco Conleone. Sorry if I said your name wrong. He says, I still like Treylon Burks, but the only way we get him is if we trade down. Not sure he's going to be there in the second round. I will say something about that. There are a lot of wide receivers. It's a very top-heavy group at the wide receiver position, and I actually don't think it's crazy to think that. I do think Burks could slip into the second round. Olave's available, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Jameson Williams, even Christian Watson. He might be a late first-round pick. People are, they're already talking about that. So it's not crazy. Burks could still be had. A-Mart, he says, appreciate all you guys keeping up with the Jets in Florida. It's hard to stay in touch sometimes. No worries, man. Happy to do it. Love talking about my Jets. Our Jets, baby. Beloved Peace, he says, it would have been interesting to see where Jameson Williams would have been ranked in terms of the first-round receivers if he hadn't gotten injured. I think he would have been number one. Maybe you agree with that. I think that based on his speed, which teams, say whatever you want about the combine. If he went and he tore up the combine like I think a lot of people expected that he would have done, I think he would have been number one wide receiver, no question. All right. I really like Olave, actually. And I really like London too, actually. I think both of those guys are very, very good prospects. Olave, the speed is there, the route running ability is there. I would recommend, I'm not trying to insult you. I'm not saying that you should go watch film on him, but I would just say maybe watch a little bit more. I always try to learn a little bit more about these players, and I try to go back to them as much as I can. I think Olave is a smooth operator. He has got some really good route running ability. No worries, Sean. Absolutely. And looks like Bino agrees with me. Ojabo probably goes in the mid to late second round. I think that's fair. Certainly would have been a first rounder if he hadn't gotten hurt. Alexander says we need Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is a freak. I think he's got it, man. I think he would be my number one guy at number 10. I think that I would say Garrett Wilson, Drake London, and if those two guys weren't there, then I think you got to go another position. But one of them will be there for sure. Maybe even both. KT, Sauce, Muma, and Mafe. That's a nice group of players you just have right there, Amanon. I think I could get down with that. All right, let's keep going here. More chat. Rick Fisher is in the house. What do you think about Crowder leaving? I think that the Jets, they're going for the younger player in Berrios. I think they really, really like his upside. And I think that's something that, once we get past the draft, I might even make a video specifically about Berrios. I think that the Jets actually see him as a poor man's like Deebo Samuel. I think they're going to get the ball in his hands in some really, really creative ways. No, I'm not saying he's Deebo Samuel, so don't go there. But I think they envision him as a guy that just makes plays. And I think that them signing him and giving him the $6 million, they're not just bringing him back to be a special teamer. They're bringing him back to be, I think, the 1A slot wide receiver. I really do believe that. So I think very highly of Berrios. So to answer your question, it sucks to see him go to the Bills. I think he's going to do really nicely there, actually. They cut Cole Beasley, and now they're putting Jamison Crowder in his spot. Josh Allen, throw into Crowder. I think Crowder could have a hell of a year, which really, again, really sucks for us. But at the same time, though, you're getting a really good player in the lineup with Berrios, and those guys really connected. Zach Wilson and Crowder really, really connected. So many good comments in here. Manny C says, content creators are freaking out about the wide receiver position, and they are freaking out other fans. I will say this. I think they should take a wide receiver early. But if they don't, I guess my only thought would be is they probably will do it in the second round. I would be shocked if they didn't take somebody at wide receiver by pick 38. We have 4 picks in the top 38. I think one of those players will be a wide receiver, or at least should be a wide receiver. I don't think they're making any moves for a wide receiver before the draft. And so the current roster right now with the wide receivers, it's Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Denzel Mims, Berrios, and who else am I forgetting? Crud. There's one more name. Can't think of it. Throw it in the chat. I'm sure it's somebody that I should not be forgetting, but we have those guys on roster right now. And I do think that there's some, it's fair to say that the wide receiver position is a need, regardless of whether or not you think we should have gone and gotten like an Allen Robinson or Amari Cooper. I think it's a need. I like your last pick of Cole Turner in your mock. He is another tight end that could learn a lot from our 2 tight ends. Dude, I have not watched film on every player for sure. That's not really who I am. I am a fan of the Jets, and it's a fan's perspective. I put on the film though of Cole Turner. I watched quite a bit of him. He is an absolute freak in one-on-ones. I can envision the Jets using him as a guy that you line him up and he wins one-on-one matchups in the red zone. He did that over and over and over again at Nevada, killing people. They couldn't stop him. And, he's raw, but I don't think he's that raw. I think as a weapon, just put him in situations where he can go and make some plays. As the 3rd tight end, I'm signing that one. I would sign up on that one all day long. I really like Ruckert still, and it would really be the most excited if we took Ruckert, but I don't know. I think I can see Joe Douglas kind of opting for the value and the depth of the class and just taking one kind of late. All right. Michael N. Crowder is an upgrade over Cole Beasley. We'll see. I think that it'll depend on how well they connect. Cole Beasley and Josh Allen had a really, really good connection there in Buffalo. We'll see. You'll see how Crowder does. If they can get a good connection going, yeah, Crowder could end up being a upgrade for sure. Darren Preston, he says we're going to end up getting the LSU. Do you mean the LSU cornerback? What player are you talking about, Darren? Throw it in the chat and I will put it up as best I can. Sean McAteer, really appreciate the comment. He says, go ahead and hit the like button, guys. I know it takes us right to the chat, but click out real quick, hit the like button. That's super cool of you, Sean. I really appreciate that. Yeah, guys, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you are a big fan of collaborations, I highly recommend, if you haven't subscribed to Jets Today, go ahead and do that. For the next month, it's going to be Collaboration USA up in here. Lots of content creators that you probably know and love will be appearing on the channel. And I put out videos every week, so check that out if you haven't already. Fierce Grim, I agree. There are a lot of good wide receivers. There's a lot of options. And we can play the depth of the class kind of game. We can go to the second round and just do exactly what we've done the last 2 years. Say whatever you want about Denzel Mims and how it hasn't really worked out to this point. If you let the draft kind of fall to you at the wide receiver position, I think you can get outstanding value at pick 35. And that's if they decide to not go to wide receiver at 10. You can get a pretty good piece at that 35 spot. I'm pretty sure of it. Let's see. We're skimming. One Nation Underground, thanks for coming back. He says everybody is sleeping on Alex Pierce, 6'4", 200 plus pounds, ran a 4.33 40. He's the kid from Cincinnati, right? I mean, I think that maybe people are sleeping on him in the sense that maybe they're not talking about him as a first round pick, but I think people would be very, very excited. I think there was somebody in the comments near the top talking about Alec Pierce. So I think there's definitely some fans out there. Bino agrees. Cole Turner is a monster in the red zone. That's kind of what I'm liking about him, is that just put him in a position to make plays, the plays that he excels at. And for a year one tight end to come in and not really be responsible for having to block, I think is very, very advantageous. It would be one of those scenarios where you can coach him up, get him to learn, and really get those fundamentals tuned in. I think that's the benefit of having those two veterans on the team. He wouldn't really be expected to do a ton of blocking year one. And that's a big transition for tight ends coming from the college game. Not all of them are being asked to block a lot. And I think that he could certainly be one of those guys that would benefit from some time to learn. Sean McAteer says, I would like Woods, Jelani Woods, and Jake Ferguson at the tight end position in the draft. It's one of the deepest positions in the draft class. There are so many names. And I like Jake Ferguson and I like Jelani Woods. I like all of them. Seriously, there's so many. Trey McBride, we've kind of stopped talking about him because of the two free agents. Maybe he falls to like something crazy. Maybe the tight ends just fall and we can get him. Jeremy Ruckert, love Jeremy Ruckert. Isaiah Likely, beast, playmaker. Really, really can take the top off. Let's see. Bino says, I think signing the two tight ends takes guys like Ruckert off the table. I kind of agree. I think they're going to play the depth. I think I really do see that being what they'll do. They're going to try to get a tight end later and play the depth of the class for sure. Eagle Fang, what's up, man? He says, if the Jets draft a D-line with the 10th pick, do you think Quinnen Williams will be on the trade block? No, because I think the Jets still see him as a pass rusher with upside, and I don't think you want to trade away players like that. I think you're going to keep Quinnen Williams. They already gave him the 5th-year option, so no, I don't see him being on the trade block. And quite frankly, if we can get an edge rusher at 4, and if Carl Lawson can get back and be healthy, I do not want Quinnen Williams going anywhere because I smell a breakout. I think he could. I think he could pop. I'm not saying crazy stuff. He's not going to have 13 plus sacks or anything like that. But I think he'd be a disruptor on this defense. I really, really do. The sack numbers might not be there every game, but he would be a penetrating defensive tackle in the middle. And so I'm not trying to crap all over your idea, but I would say let's keep Quinnen Williams. Let's go ahead and get another defensive tackle for sure in the draft. But I would not trade him. Kev chatted, do you get into arguments at home with different draft pick options? I don't know if you're asking me that or if you're asking everybody else that. I will say this. I like the arguments. This is one of the main reasons why I even created this channel. I like to debate. I like to argue. In a respectful way, of course, but I like the debate. And I'm not trying to be like a clickbait person. That's not really who I am either, but that's kind of why I made the video yesterday, the mock draft with Kyle Hamilton. I want people to have a disagreement. I want people to talk to me and tell me why they think that's a bad idea, why that's a good idea. the fruit of life is variety, and the lifeblood of sports is sports talk. So I'm all about it. Tony X with the trippy profile pic. He says, people are saying it usually takes a year for rookies receivers to have an impact, yet they don't bring up it's Moore's second year. Great point. I'm a big fan of Elijah Moore, and I think that he's one of those guys that could absolutely have a big second year. If he can stay healthy, I think the sky's the limit for Elijah Moore. I think Michael Carter fits into that category as well. Laken Tomlinson, it can't be understated. He was very, very important for this offense. We needed to get Laken Tomlinson in the mix. These are two guys that I feel can really do some damage in 2022. So I'm with you, buddy. I am with you. And if you get Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Braxton Berrios, and as of right now, Denzel Mims, and you get another player in the mix, I think you just have too many weapons, and I think it would be a great thing. Jamal Simpson, what's going on, man? He says, just checking in. What's the vibes with the 10th pick? No wide receiver at 10. We can grab one in the second round. My preferred option right now, if you said you got to do something, pick 4, pick 10. Tell me what you're doing. I'm saying edge at 4, and I'm saying wide receiver at 10. I would probably go safety in the second round, and then the other position, or the other draft pick, best player available probably. A linebacker, a cornerback, I don't know, offensive lineman. You could really go in a million different directions. But I am not opposed at all to waiting until pick 35 or 38 to get a wide receiver. Thank you for checking in, my man. Really means a lot. You've been tuning in quite a bit. If you guys have not, hit the like button for me. Do me a solid. It's a Monday night, baby, and I'm here. Skylar Dasher, he says, Jelani Woods, the tight end, would be a sleeper. We could develop and use him occasionally in the red zone. Same way I see Cole Turner. I have no problems with them drafting a tight end and just using him as a weapon year one. So I like the idea, Skylar. Thanks for tuning in, my man. Let's see. You guys are loading up this chat. I love it. I can't keep up with you. I'm trying, though. Mims is a good blocker, and I think that last year, let's not sugarcoat anything. Let's be honest. It was an unmitigated disaster with Denzel Mims last year. The food poisoning at the beginning of the year, having those penalties during the season, he was getting very limited playing time, and when he got on the field, he had some infractions. He had that drop in the end zone. He was going to catch his first touchdown. He dropped it. It was right in the breadbasket. If they decide to keep Denzel Mims, which I still don't think they're going to do based on what I'm hearing from, people who have sources. If they decided to keep him, I could support that. But man, we would be counting on him a lot. That's a very, very big leap of faith, I think, by the Jets to roll with Denzel Mims after what we saw last year. I don't know if I can do it. Let's see here. Michael Elias, he says, I'm tired of these second round wide receivers. It never works out. And I know what you're talking about. Stephen Hill, Devin Smith, and the like. I hear you, brother. Just take a wide receiver in the first round at number 10 and don't screw around. Yeah, I don't know how long it's been for the Jets to take a wide receiver in the first round, but right off the top of my head, I think it's Santana Moss. Am I wrong? I think it's been that long. Santana Moss out of Miami. So yeah, if you're one of those guys that just said, let's stop effing around. Let's just go get the guy that we feel like is the best in the class and roll with that. I'm cool with it. And that's kind of what I want to do, man. Go get your edge at 4. Go get your wide receiver at 10. And then let's just get some good players. Thank you very much. Let's see here. What round should we get a linebacker and who? I love Nakobe Dean and I love Devin Lloyd. I don't think we can do it this year. I don't think we're ready to take a linebacker in the first round. To answer your question, SG31 Black, I think any round after the first round, really. I don't I don't see a reason why we can't go and get a linebacker in round 2. There's some really good names. Christian Harris, Brandon Smith from Penn State. I'm on board with getting a linebacker, and honestly, that's one of the bigger needs on the defense, if you ask me. I know some people suggest the Jets don't think it's a big need. Who do we have at linebacker? CJ Mosley. I love him. Quincy Williams. I like him too. What the hell else do we have at linebacker? We just traded away Blake Glassman. What are we doing? Who do we have? We don't have any linebackers. I feel like that's crazy. Everybody's suggesting it's not a big need. I don't get it. Travis Jones or Perion Winfrey. I mocked Perion Winfrey to us. I love the idea of getting another pass rusher on the inside. I think that would be helpful. It would give the Jets a possibility of rotating their defensive linemen and not have to lose that edge, to lose that interior pass rushing ability. You would get that with Perion. I think that Travis Jones, I think that Perion Winfrey, I think they're both in game for sure. Muma would be awesome. Love Muma. If he's there at 69, it's going to be really hard to pass that up. Eminon, he says, arguments are fun, but haters suck, especially internal haters. I love debate. Love it. Osiris the Great. What is going on? Thank you for tuning in. He says, Hamilton at 10. What do you think? If he's there at 10, sure. I think you can't really pass him up at 10, right? That would be kind of ridiculous. And I'm not even really hoping that happens. But if he's there at 10, yeah, I think you got to take him. And again, I don't think he's going to make it to 10. I think that the Giants would probably take him. I think that there are a couple of teams that would definitely, make the swing for Kyle Hamilton. If he's there, though, I think absolutely it makes sense. I would just be a little bit salty because I really would prefer to not have to take a safety in round 1. I really like the second round safeties. Dax Hill, Lewis Seen, Jaquan Brisker. Jalen Pitry's not I don't know if he's a second rounder, but I like Jalen Pitry. Vern says, don't collab with Jets creators I don't like or I won't watch. That's okay. You don't have to watch that night. You can skip that night. No big deal. Eminon, he says, KT, Sauce, Hamilton, Mafe, and Muma. Yes, I love that. I think it's a lot of really good players at positions we really, really need. Let's see. Rick Fisher, he's saying, why not take a wide receiver at 4? I don't think that's crazy talk. I know that some people are not going to be in favor of that because they want the edge at 4, but if they feel like Garrett Wilson won't be there, I guess you could do it. I still think you take the risk. I think you get your edge of 4 and you get your wide receiver at 10 and you just kind of, you have to be willing to roll the dice a little bit in the draft. And I think that the better option to me personally is you go ahead and you wait for your wide receiver at 10 or 35. Righty, let's see here. I want Brisker. If I'm laying it all out there, take your edge at 4, take your wide receiver at 10, go get a safety at 35 or 38. Those are the 3 positions and the sweet spots. And if you ask me, wide receiver at 10 is great. And I think that safety at that early second round range, you're going to get a hell of a safety at that spot. Sea-Dog says, Mims, he's not good. Waste of a roster spot. I think the Jets might agree with that, actually. Maybe some fans are not quite ready to get him up. I think that the New York Jets kind of agree with that. Bino, he says, problem with Mims is his trade value is so low. JD isn't going to throw away a second-round pick. He's going to give every chance to prove himself. So here's what I'll say about that, Bino. I think that the Jets are going to give him minicamp. After the draft, they're going to have they're going to have a couple of new bodies in there at the wide receiver spot. And I think that in minicamp, if Mims is not If he doesn't have the playbook down, if he's not running crisper routes, and if he's not giving it his all, like 110% all, I think maybe you see him go then. That could be where we see if he sticks, if he's still on the roster, I think he's got a shot to, be he can compete in training camp. Right, let's see here. Owen, nice question. I like this one. He says, Dean in the first round or Chad Muma in the second round? Easily Chad Muma in the second round, because I just feel like we have too many other needs. And as much as I love Nakobe Dean, and I really do, early on, he was the player that I wanted the most. But I just think that we just have to wait on linebackers. So I would say Chad Muma in round 2, if you ask me. Trying to catch up to you guys. You are insane. Yeah, Santana Moss I'm seeing in the chat. Santana Moss and Keyshawn Johnson are the last 2 wideouts picked in the first round. Both turned out great. Yeah, Santana Moss was like a really good wide receiver in the NFL. He lasted a long time too, right? Keyshawn Johnson was pretty good. I think there's a lot of, there's a lot of support that says we should be willing to take a risk on a wide receiver at 10. It's a pretty high risk position because there's a lot of busts at that position, but every position can bust. Matthew Lakers, he says, I'm not touching wide receiver at 10. All good, my man. And I do respect that because there are other players that could help this team. There are other positions. So if you say to me, you want to go get your wide receiver at 35, 38, it makes sense. And I'm cool with that. I think it makes sense to do that. Scott Collins, thanks for tuning in. He says, KT, Sauce, Scene, Pickens. You get your edge. You get your corner, a lockdown cornerback. Lewis Scene, that thumper, and Pickens. Could be wide receiver 1. I don't know about that. But you never know. And I guess what you're trying to say is that he could be a wide receiver 1. Not necessarily that he is wide receiver 1 in the class. All right, let's keep it going here. How about Marcus Maye? Your thoughts? I'm glad that Marcus Maye got, on his feet. And I hope that he's able to get his life together off the field. That driving under the influence stuff is no joke. That's a serious thing. And I hope he's okay. I hope he's mentally well. He's in the NFC. I have no bad blood towards Marcus Maye. I just hope that he has a good career, the rest of his career. Hope he stays healthy. Hope he stays happy. No problem with Marcus Maye. He was a good player, and he was a good leader on this defense during some really, really bad times for the Jets. He could have completely bitched his way out of the Jets situation like Jamal Adams did, but he didn't do that. I have respect for Marcus Maye. Yeah, I think we're all like a broken record, right? At this point, we all agree. Edge is a huge need. It was my number 1 need going into the offseason. I think that nothing's really changed in that regard. We added Jacob Martin from the Houston Texans, but he's a body, he's a depth piece, he's a young guy, but he's not the answer at edge. We need a guy that's going to burn on the opposite side of Carl Lawson. I like this. Jahan Dotson is Santana Moss 2.0. He's bigger than Santana, but I hear you loud and clear. Jahan Dotson's a separator, y'all. He can run routes and he can jump. And I remember when Santana Moss came out, I think he had like a 42-inch vert or something crazy like that. Emanon, he says, Marcus Maye is a saint. Thanks for the work. Now hit the road and take your dumbass agent with you. Yeah, the agent was a Looney Tune, wasn't he? What a weirdo. I did not like his agent. For as much of, the flowers that I was throwing at Marcus Maye, his agent was a total douchebag. Yeah, that was Devin Smith, Bino. Let's not go down that deep, dark, cavernous abyss that is the I guess that was the McCagnon era. I think it was. Either that or the Idzik era. I don't want to live through either one of those again, though. Imagine if we get London and we have a game in London. Oh, the humanity. It'd be insane. We got Twisted in here. This is a new one. I haven't seen you here. Welcome to my channel. Thank you very much. If you're already subscribed, I appreciate you stopping by tonight. He says, response to the title. Everyone hated Gase, but then they go and make Gase by reaching for a wide receiver at 10. Thankfully, we have JD at the helm. We can thank Adam Gase. He brought us Joe Douglas, right? He deserves some credit. What leaders do you believe that are still? I'm not sure I understand. Oh, on the team still. That's an interesting question. What leaders are on the football team? Let's see here. We got CJ Mosley. I think that you just added Laken Tomlinson. I think he's a leader, right? Coming from that San Francisco system, I think he's going to be a great fit, great leader. Offensively, I think Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson's a leader. He's a young leader, but he's a leader nonetheless. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say Corey Davis too. I think Corey Davis is a leader. I think he's one of those quiet leaders that does his work, brings his lunch pail. He's a lead by example kind of guy. I do think it's interesting though to think about, it might be that we have a couple of leaders that we just signed in free agency. Maybe Jordan Whitehead's the guy. We don't know what's going to happen, but I think that CJ Mosley is probably the one that that I would put my money on right now as the 1A leader. All right, let's go ahead and let's take a couple more comments, guys. This was pretty fun. This was a short stream. All in all, though, to me, if you're asking me right now, wide receiver at 10, that's my preference. I would definitely take a wide receiver at 10. If they decide to go, let's say, Kayvon Thibodeau, if he falls to 4, you get your edge at 4, and then maybe they vie at number 10, maybe they go and get a safety, maybe they go and get a cornerback, a linebacker, a defensive lineman. I don't know if I would do that. I don't think I would go double defensive line. But I just think there's a lot of options in this draft. And I think that, again, I would personally go wide receiver at 10, but I can see a scenario where they wait till the second round. Frank Pagan, he says, just joined and I liked it. Thank you very much, buddy. He says, I saw your mock. It was very interesting. What's your thoughts on double dipping the edge position? Maybe Johnson at 10 and Mafe at 35, then maybe third round to Jabo. I don't mind double dipping on the defensive line. In fact, I think I had them double dipping on the defensive line in the mock. I had them take Perion Winfrey and Trayvon Walker. I think that Joe Douglas has been giving a lot of love to the offensive line since he took the job. That's been his big project. I think that this draft and this offseason, I think that it's going to show that they are invested in making this defense better and that specifically this defensive line. I think they're really trying to improve both lines of the scrimmage. So I think that it's very possible. I love the idea of JJ at number 10. Jermaine Johnson, to me, he's one of my favorites in the class at the edge position, and I think that he's ready to play year one right away. I don't think he's going to be one that needs a lot of time to develop. I think Trayvon Walker is that guy. I think Trayvon Walker is a super, super boom bust kind of player, super freaky athlete and lots of versatility, but he needs some work and he needs to learn a little bit to play that edge position, I think, in the NFL. So to answer your question, JJ at 10, I love it. And if they want to double dip going, at pick in the third round, I think that's the sweet spot if you're going to double dip. There's going to be somebody there. If Ajabo fell to third round, holy crap. Yeah, I don't think you can pass up on that. I love Sauce. This is the thing. This is why it's so fun, because there are so many players that we can say that about, right? We could say that about Garrett Wilson. We can't pass on him. We could say that about tons of these defensive linemen in this draft class. Cornerback you mentioned. I think that there's tons of players that we should be like kind of crossing our fingers, hoping that we can get them. I trust Saleh with whatever edge he goes with. That's kind of how I feel too. Matthew Lakers, he says that JJ is my 5th edge. Let's see. Kayvon Thibodeau. You got Hutchinson in there probably. Trayvon Walker. And then George Karlaftis and then JJ maybe? That's just my guess. You can tell me if I got it right. That would be pretty cool. Let's see. Twisted. Welcome back, sir. He says JD is a value-grabbing GM. 100% agree with that. Do not disagree with that at all. And in no dream will he reach at 10 for a wide receiver. If he uses the 10 on a wide receiver, it will be a trade and a drop a few picks while adding a pick or two and still getting the same wide receiver. I'm down for that. If they want to trade back and get a wide receiver, down for it. Hell yeah. I have a video on the channel talking about the benefit of trading back from number 10 overall. And it's intriguing as hell because we talk about it all the time. How many holes we have, how many needs we have. Hell yes. Go get another draft pick. Abso-freaking-lutely. Here, let me put the little thumbnail up here. Yeah, I have a video on the channel. It's about trading back from number 10. Go ahead and check that out. I think that there's a lot of potential for that. No worries, Matthew Lakers. I tried my best. Yeah, those 4 guys I figured you had in your top 5 ahead of JJ, and I have no problem with that. I think that makes some sense. I think a lot of people like Karlaftis, maybe a little bit more. I think that it's fair to point to his lack of production in college. I think that it's a little bit concerning. But I know that there are a lot of people that do analytics and they study his analytics and they say this guy is going to be the Greek freak in the NFL. He's going to be a beast. So all respect to you, my man. Thank you again for tuning in. All these comments, they're really cool. I know, Vern. I stole them from you. Greek freak. Kev Chatta says Kobe Bryant or Elam. I think it's Jason Elam, right? I'm trying to remember his name. From Florida, the cornerback. Is better value in the second round than Sauce at 4 or 10. I wouldn't take Kobe Bryant in the second round, but that Elam kid for sure. He's got he's like the cousin or the brother, I think brother to Matt Elam. Khair. Jesus, yeah. Khair, thank you. Yeah, Khair Elam from Florida. I knew the college and I knew he played cornerback. I couldn't remember his first name. Tony X. You are assuming JD's value and board is the same as the fans and the media. No, I'm not. Not at all. I do not claim to know what his values are. Here's my only thing, Tony X. I think there's no way that they're leaving the first round without taking an edge. I would be willing to put money down on that. I would be willing to, risk money, I guess, if you will. I would be willing to guarantee it almost that they are going to take an edge in that first round. Pick 4 or pick 10. They are going to land an edge. The rest of it, I think it's wide ass open. I think they could do anything. They really could. Some people think they might take the defensive tackle from Georgia at 10. Some people think they should trade back from 10. Some people think they should trade up from 35 into the first round. There's no way of knowing for sure. The only thing I'll assume, though, at this point is they are going to take an edge in the first round. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, I know. I'm an idiot. What can I say? Let me give myself this. I'll do the sound effect. Here we go. I deserve that one. Let's see. Whitehead, the safety of the cousin. Revis. I hear you. I love Jordan Whitehead. Him and Tyler Conklin were 2 of my favorites. I thought that was a great signing by the Jets. I think that's going to be one of those ones that we look back on and be like, damn, we got him for a good contract and he just produced for us. No worries, Tony X. He says, I was referring to that. There's not a wide receiver worth taking at 10. I see. My apologies. Robbie Oak, he says, I think all of these options are awesome and JD will pick the best way to go. I love the sound effect, right? It's such a good sound effect. I used to use it on my buddy Mike, who would be on the show. And whenever he would say something that I thought was really dumb, I would just play it. Now I play it for myself when I say something dumb. SG31 Black, he says, I just noticed that Drake London was a captain at USC. Interesting. I did not know that. Joe Douglas does have a tendency to favor guys that are leaders on their team. I think there's a lot of smoke to the Jets possibly taking Drake London. I really do. This has been a lot of fun, guys. I am going to go ahead and log off. I'm going to see you guys on Wednesday. Don't forget, Jets Central is going to be tuning in, and I'll put that little, I'll put that thumbnail on the screen for you. The link for the stream is in the description, guys. So Jets Central, Ian, he's going to be tuning in, going to hang out with us for about an hour, and really, really excited to hear him talk a little bit about the draft. On the mock draft video that I made this past weekend, I said I think he's one of the best minds for college football players. I think he just knows a lot about the coaches, the schemes that they run, the players themselves. He's just really, really good in that regard. So really, really excited to hear some of his takes. And if you guys have not done this already, I say this every stream, send me a mailbag. My Twitter, my Instagram is on the screen right now. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Send me a DM. Send me a question or a take that you want myself, James from Jets X Factor, and Ian from Jets Central to talk about. We will hit it at the beginning of the show. Yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really, really excited about it. Sean McAteer, really appreciate it. Mike Gee, we're about to end this thing. You'll have to tune in. You'll have to check out the rest of the show on your own time. Definitely. I agree. The chat is always, you guys are always insane. It's crazy. Well, anyway, I want to thank you all so very much. Go ahead and hit the like button. If you're new here and you're watching this after the show aired, hit the subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Check out the Jets Today content, guys. There's lots to come. Plenty of collaborations over the next few weeks. Matt O'Leary's coming on. Jake Asman's coming on. Jets Central. Hope you all have a great Monday night. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Go Jets. See you guys next time. Word from my daughter. Peace.